I ruined that. You guys got that little sneak peek there. Hey, everybody. Hope all is well. Welcome to Storm Talk on this Friday. Finally, Friday, right? Busy day today. The thunder. Yeah, I like the thunder. Ryan Hulk added that in there for me. Isn't that cool? Love to do that for Storm. Wait until we get to Snow Talk. You never know what surprises we'll have about them. Hello, everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk today. Yes, we have a lot to cover on the storm side of things. The weekend. Excuse me. There have been some changes to the weekend. We do need to cover that. We'll do that here in just a second. But first, of course, you guys already know what the surprise was. So let's check in on the birthday boy who is taking a nap. It is Dobie's birthday today. Dobie, you want to say hi to everybody? Dobie? Hey. Psst, psst. Dobie? Angela's wanting to say hi. Miss Turtle. Autumn wants to say hi. Here, let me get the comments off so you guys can see. Let's see. Squirrel. No, that didn't work. Treat. No. Did you want to go? Did you want to go? Nope, that didn't work. Oh, wait a minute. Got a little bit of life. A little bit of life. All right, he's just not having it. Of course, right when I'm turning my head, then he turns. Look at this. He's mad that I got that hat on him today. I guess I would be too if I had a hat like that on, but overall, he's done pretty good with it. It is Dobie's birthday. He is 10 years old today, so happy birthday, everyone. Clap emoji. Everyone do the birthday cake. Clap emoji, please, in chat. Dobie is now 10 years old. Oh, my goodness. Actually, rescued him from a puppy mill years ago. He had about 2 weeks to live. He had to have emergency surgery done. I was able to get him that surgery, and we didn't know how it was going to go. It was touch and go there for a while, and 10 years later, he is still with us. So he is a trooper, so I think he's going to go a long, long time. I got a feeling knowing how Dobie is. I was trying to get a camera up for him all the time here, but my screen is not working correctly. So hang tight. Let me see if I can change something for you all. And see if maybe I can, change this up a little bit here for you. Hang tight, hang tight. Anyone else have a Yorkie poo? Because they are very spoiled dogs. They do have some health issues. Yes, they do. But overall, overall pretty good. I mean, they can certainly develop a lot of back issues too in their legs. They got little legs. Now he's more Yorkie than he is the poodle side of things. Um, my mom actually has his sister, and she is more poodle than the Yorkie side, and they really don't get along very well. But we'll keep an eye on Dobie. If he says anything interesting, like hello, that would be like big news if he said hello. So, but if he perks up, I promise I will get back to him and we'll give him a little bit of the limelight. But apparently, right now, he just wants to nap, and I think that's totally fair. I think we should let him nap for a little bit. What else would you do on your birthday? That's what I'm going to do, and it's not even my birthday later. Thank you, Ashley. Again, you can comment on the social media side. Should have mentioned that first. That is on Facebook, X, Twitch, and YouTube. And what's the other one? I'm missing one. Facebook. I think they're back up. I know at one point Facebook and Instagram, I think Meta, I think went down, but I think they're up and running again. My mom has 3 Yorkies. They are the cutest. They are. They're very spoiled, very whiny, but at the same time, very loyal. He doesn't really leave my side. I can take a walk with him around the neighborhood, and he will not leave my side whatsoever, which is really, really cute. Okay, we do have some other things to talk about today. It's not all just puppies, although it's nice in the way today's world is. Sometimes just having a puppy, that's all you need. That's all you need. Just look at a puppy for a while with a birthday hat on. That in itself calms my nerves down, right? We do have a little bit of blue sky. Hey, this is going to calm everyone down. This morning was wild. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder. This one was not too happy with the thunder this morning, but rolling thunder that took place. Got about 7/10 of an inch of rain out of the rain this morning. I don't know how much you guys got if you have gauges at home. Airport was a little over 3/10 of an inch. So not enough to cause flash flooding, but it did help. And as far as your gardens and your annuals, because we were getting a little crispy with these 90s the past couple of days. It doesn't take long to dry out the topsoil, especially for your flower pots. So there's a benefit there on that. And we'll have a chance to enjoy a nice evening coming our way. So far, we've got 3 90s rocked in. That's about on par for where we should be at this point in the year. So at this point, we're normal. We'll see how long we can stay normal. Last year at 47, and while that seems like a lot, it really overall was a cooler than normal summer. We really had them bunched up in sections, not all summer long. We did have some really nice days, especially around the state fair time. Wasn't bad. The record 2010, 85 days. Let's hope we don't have that repeat. All right, outside at 76, 79 down into Marion County, 11 in Kentucky, and 81 in Campbellsville. Here are some of the dew point numbers coming in because we've looked at this several times. This is how we measure the moisture in the air, one of the ways. And when you've got dew points mid to upper 70s, even touching 80 in some spots in Kentucky this week, that's when it's very difficult to even just breathe, let alone try to enjoy being outside. It's just difficult air. You just like, yeah, you know what? I'm going back in. The numbers are going down. We're at 70 here in Louisville, but mid 60s in Indiana. We're not looking at dew points in the 40s like we had the last cool wave. That would be nice. But we are going to see a noticeable drop, but it will be north to south. So it'll be a gradual decrease that'll happen. All right. There are the rain totals, by the way, as it moved on by. This is some areas got low end on the gauges, but I know that some of you in that area of Marion and Taylor County and as well as Washington did get some heavy pockets mixed in. So the rain missed some of the gauges, but I know some of you did get some beneficial rain because the radar was certainly lit up in your area this morning. But in general, 1/4 inch, yeah, that's fair. As far as the metro goes, we'll zoom in a little more. So the southern part of the metro, one on the higher rain totals, even a few spots just south of the National Turnpike area, ended up at about 1 inch of rain. Perhaps the same story too off of Seatonville Road, Fern Creek. You may have ended up with about 1 inch. So higher on the southern part. It was a little wave that kind of moved along the southern part of the metro. That's what really gave you the majority of rain totals. It was relatively light elsewhere. Okay, here's a wider view showing the clouds still lingering because the flow is still aloft southwest, but at the surface, it is northwest. And you can tell the difference when you look at the cloud layer moving by, but look at these clouds in Indiana, you can tell that they are moving with more of the wind closer to the ground level. That is the drier punch. It's undercutting the atmosphere. So the higher clouds, once they scoot out of the way, we'll see more of that blue sky, but it's going to be a slow but steady process. Those of you south and east of Louisville, at times get a little bit of an agitated cumulus field, which indicates you may get a quick shower, maybe a rumble of thunder. I'm not going to rule that out as we know later on today, but overall, we're not going to see a ton of rain out of this. We're just about done, but we'll hold on to a small rain chance for those of you in that southeast corner for just a smidge longer. Water view shows how this is really carving out that pocket of drier and somewhat cooler air into the Ohio Valley after the tornado outbreak into Illinois. Wasn't that wild last night? Even for Indianapolis, they got a little worried for a while. So it was a pretty wicked, but that's the way it's been all season. And guess what? We're going to keep repeating this pattern, at least for the foreseeable future. I keep seeing the same trends here where we get severe weather in the Midwest. We may get some here. We may at times have to deal with flooding. We will get cold fronts to refresh our air, lower our dew points down. We may get a couple of days of sunshine. Then we build back the humidity again. We may get up to 90, and then we get more severe weather in the plains or in the Midwest, Chicago, and it just keeps repeating. The whole process is about a 3 to 6 day process for it to run through its cycle, and you'll see that in a 10-day. So it all depends. If you have outdoor plans, where are we now in that cycle based on your outdoor schedule, whatever it is you're trying to attend, because that will be the key factor. All right. So right now we're in the drop process here. This is not going to last very long, too. This little blast of refreshing air, if you will, is only going to last for another maybe 28, 29 hours. And then it's back. So we'll take it. I'm not going to complain. You can see it carved out again into the plains. But also bring your attention down into the Gulf, because we've been talking about the tropical moisture here, the tropical wave. Now, this model here is a high-res model, so it can only see sections and does not see on the southern part of the Gulf. But there is a tropical wave here. The Hurricane Center is still monitoring it. Still a low-end chance it would even develop into anything. But either way, it's going to continuously feed any front that keeps sliding in from the Midwest with its severe weather rounds. It keeps feeding it all of its moisture that it needs, leading to the rounds of severe weather and rounds of flooding at times. And when you get a front that moves in, it takes the flow and bends it down a little more into the deep south and stays there for a while until the front washes out, and then we're back with that tropical flow. This feature is going to be very slow moving. There's not going to be a lot of change over the next 10 days with that. And at times, it may even try to move onshore. The center of the spin itself could. Again, low end chance of being developing, but the important thing is it's tropical feed that it's got. And that's going to be a player because we do have another strong front next week that may be heavily influenced by this type of a setup, not only on the storm side, but maybe on flash flooding. All right, we'll get to that in a second. Your severe risk today, far east, where the front is heading for the max seeding of the day on the other side of the Appalachians. And then you can already see our next little wave kicking up severe weather into the front range there of the Rockies. Tomorrow, there we go, into an enhanced risk into Missouri and around St. Louis, slight risk into Illinois. I mean, storm chasers maybe have saved a little bit on gas by just not having to travel very far, just kind of go from one hotel to another. I'm sure these hotels and restaurants have seen the same people and over again since April, it seems like. But it does go to the very eastern side of the area. It does move into our western side of wave country. Now, the one thing that could change with this update, which is still 45 minutes away, is that it could extend out the site a little bit more east. The margin could go a little more east, only because of the afternoon development. The challenge we have, there will be at least one MCS that we know that's going to be able to fire, which is like a little mini low pressure. That's going to kick up a lot of your storm activity. But there is a chance for more than one, which is very common. You get one going, they bounce off each other, they get a split, and then you get another one that can form either north or south of it. It's again a game of bumper cars that happens. That makes forecasting rain chances in the summertime, especially in this kind of a setup, very, very difficult. So that's our challenge for your Saturday is when could we get the first one? And if we get the first one, how does that influence the likely second one that we'll get? And we do see the potential for two as of now that may spin in from the west and shake things up in our weather here locally. By the way, there's severe risk for Sunday far east. I think that'll change. It may be drawn a little more like that. at least for the marginal, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so what I'm going to show you our in-house model. And honestly, it's actually looked very similar to even the HER. They have been slowly changing their theme and their storyline with each update, but the general idea I just laid out for you guys, that there will be a couple pieces that move on by Saturday afternoon and again late Saturday night. That's still the overall theme on that, but they're a little different on placement and timing, and of course, in some cases, even on intensity. So bear with us as we just try to narrow that down, and we may not be able to until they actually form tomorrow, which I know is not ideal. All I can tell you at this point is we always say this, but it's very, very true in this kind of a pattern, especially in the weekend where a lot of you are wanting to get out and enjoy some time outside, summertime, go on the lake, go do some camping, go to theme parks. I get it. Just have a way to be notified for the heavy rain and the lightning. That's, by all means, there should be no reason why you would have a miserable time as long as you have a way to constantly be notified and have enough time to react. These setups with storms typically don't last very long anyway. I would say 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you would have an active weather setup, and then you'll get back around to a bit of a calmer ordeal at the very end. Fair enough? Everyone good? Everyone seems quiet all of a sudden. Yeah, sure, you're good. Yeah, I want to see Dobie again before I show the future cast. There's Dobie. When y'all get quiet, I get nervous. Oh, you're kayaking on Sunday. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So what needs to happen, Jeremy says, to change up the pattern? Well, it will likely be a placement of the Bermuda High itself and the blocking pattern that's going on in the Atlantic, which I just don't know if that's going to change in a dramatic way. El Nino is ramping up. They declared El Nino yesterday, day before yesterday. Officially, we crossed that 1.0 mark. If you remember that from the summer outlook, generally you get above a 0.5 for 3 consecutive months. They rule it as El Nino. We've hit 1. The forecast continues to show up to a 3 and maybe even a 4 in some of the data. I don't know if we'll go that high, but 2 to 2.4, 2.5 is a super El Nino setup. And we don't know yet. We're likely going to enter a very interesting setup with a blocking pattern, with a lack of Arctic sea ice, and how that will interact with what's going to happen here with El Nino. I don't know at what point do we see the weather pattern in the Ohio Valley react to all that. I think it'll take some time, but for the moment, I think what you've been witnessing here, this repeating idea, these fronts dropping in, I just don't see right now anything really to shake that up. So the idea that we will have cooler than normal temperatures as an average for the summer so far seems to be pretty likely, but we'll watch that. All right, let's go through FutureCast. I know you guys want to see this. So here we are today. All right, there goes the Cape. Blah, blah, blah. We get into the cooler air. One thing worth mentioning, if you are south of the parkways, you may not see as much relief as, say, Louisville will, or Scottsburg, or even Madison, Indiana. You will have a little bit more of a refreshing vibe tonight. If you're south of the parkways, you're probably going to still have a lot of the bugs flying around the porch light, if you know what I mean. It's not exactly a refreshing night, but it will be better. It will be better than the past few nights have been, but still muggy. And the reason why I said I don't want you to get too used to it tonight, because we do return the flow back around again quickly. So let's get into Saturday. As we build up the humidity, here comes MCS number 1 rolling in out of Illinois. Again, they're like Pac-Man. They love Cape. Well, there's quite a bit of Cape right here into West Kentucky, already 11:30 in the day, if this model's right. It continues to build off to the east. Here we are at 4 in the afternoon, still eating away at whatever it can. But notice the Cape is a little higher down towards southern Kentucky. So this northern piece may struggle a bit. So that's why the afternoon confidence, it's there on at least a wave moving in, but we just don't know how much of the viewing area would experience the core of this feature as it moves on by. It goes without saying, the more south you are, the odds do look higher, because you will have a little bit more moisture to work with from the front that's moving in today. Since the front doesn't exactly wipe out all the moisture in your area, you'll start off with quite a bit already for this thing to feed on throughout the day. So that's where most of our lakes are that everyone goes to. So just be weather aware that some thunderstorms could quickly approach. Shouldn't last long, but burst of wind, lightning, and thunder, you bet. Once like Pac-Man does here, eating all the little little ghost there. And once it eats all the cape, it's done. It runs out of fuel. All right, but doesn't last long. The second feature builds in. Now, this model builds it here. The Her model is a little more over here in Illinois. That's where you start to see some differences, but we know that's a pretty good chance we're going to see another one just because of the nocturnal jet ramping up. It will likely feed some thunderstorms. We just got to figure out where do they pop. Once they pop, it's easy because they will take that comma shape like on a keyboard. They'll have that kind of a look to it. We just got to figure out where. And once we do, we'll be able to gauge fairly quick by looking at the dew points and humidity and everything all in advance of it. We'll have a good idea of how it will behave or evolve. But we got to figure out where does it pop first. And no doubt, the afternoon one is going to be a key factor on this one. It's a cause and effect. It's a chain reaction that you have to just go through step one before you can get to step four. It's just how you have to do this. So as we head into the overnight, it continues. And then finally, one thing we are confident on is the idea the front is going to arrive as we move into Sunday afternoon. That front will move in, and then that will clear the air out. And at this point, because if we end up with two complexes of storms, we may not have much for this front to even work with by Sunday afternoon. We could get a few downpours, but anything overly organized, unlikely. Only reason it would have anything more than that is if we miss the two MCSs, so they don't influence us at all, or they just dive down toward Memphis and Mississippi and don't bother us at all, then yeah, the front may have more of a kick to it then by this point on Sunday. But at the moment, there's enough support in a lot of the high-res data that we may exhaust out quite a bit of moisture by the time the front moves in. May not erase all of it, but hopefully that will help us ease the weekend on a little bit of a more spotty thunderstorm note than a more dramatic conclusion there. All right, then it passes on by, then we get into another zone of refreshing air, but this time around, this one does have a more of a kick to it and cooler weather that will last more than just 28 hours. This next one's going to last about 2 to 3 days. All right, any questions on the weekend setup before I get into the problem for next week? You guys are still talking about which app you use. All right. How you doing? Weather 14. Outflow City. Yeah, outflows. You got it. I mean, when you don't have much of a tailpipe here, you get the whole bumper car stain. I mean, these stains can feed on the environment and they can produce absolutely damaging winds. They can knock power lines down, trees down. They can cause flash flooding. They're a pain. I worry many times more about MCSs in our region this time of the year than I do with squall lines. Supercells are our own little ball game, but we don't always get a supercell environment here. We get a lot of linear events, whether it's a QLCS type of line, wiggly line of storms, or MCSs. Those are most common on severe weather. And in the summertime, the reason why they just have more of a violent kick to them at times is that you're hotter. You have more fuel. You're in the 80s to your 90. It's just a tropical environment. So when the storm collapses, it collapses. And if you're nearby when that happens, that's when we run into problems. They're just very hard to pinpoint in advance. That's the challenge. All I can tell you is that the environment is primed for that to happen on Saturday. We have the fuel. We do have a couple little wrinkles, little ripples, if you will, that'll move into the area that could fire up the storm. So we know we have the groundwork laid out. It's the specifics we don't know yet. Let's see. What'd you say, 49 and Indian Monday? Well, I'm jealous of that. We won't get that cool here, but okay. I think everybody seems okay from what I can gather. Record lows next week. Not here. Adam, I know you're up in Bloomington, so even there, the record lows are pretty extreme in the low to mid 40s. We're looking at upper 50s here in Louisville, but some of you could get in the mid 50s. I'm not gonna roll that out. But hey, even if you're close, it's at least a good chance to let the AC take a little bit of a vacation, right? Our graphic, our favorite weather pun of free AC. You'll be seeing a lot next week. I remember John Buskey's always put that on when I was a kid. We still use basically the same graphic we still use. Just changed the font over the years. All right, so what about next week? Well, first, here's the Euro, and this is the recap of what I just explained. The MCS is, here comes the front. Boom, it moves in and clears the air out. And you see that carving, it happens for Sunday night into Monday and Tuesday. Now, once we get into the middle of the week, you can really see how that tropical flow is being blocked because of our front from this weekend. You can see it's just like a shield. Now, there's a couple of low pressures then. They're going to try to still sneak in on the weather map. One will be at some point on Wednesday as it scoots on by. Okay, it's going to try to kick up some storms, but notice we don't have this massive squall line going all the way down across the country, and that's because the deep moisture is blocked. It can't gather up enough and scoop up enough in time. It's moving too fast, and it doesn't have full access to the Gulf to feed it to be a bigger severe system as we into late Tuesday and Wednesday. But could we still get a few showers or maybe a storm out of that? Possibly. Certainly the more north you are than south for where late Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, the second one is the one we're watching. That'll be more into Thursday. But look what happens. See the block that we had here? Well, that begins to break up, becomes very blotchy. So it's not a full-on shield now along the Gulf Coast. And here comes another low. It already is building up the Cape. The groundwork is being put down. So here we go as we head into Thursday. Now, as we head into Thursday, this is a potent low pressure for the Great Lakes. There is no block in the Gulf. Now, this is a very positively tilted trough, so the moisture is not traveling straight up 65 into Kentucky. It is actually doing a very long way to get here. It's going all the way through Dallas into the Ozarks and then goes to Kentucky. So it does take a sharp turn. I know you can't tell it from the map, but that's the angle it takes. There are some questions on whether or not that is enough time to feed the front. I think it is, because it should slow the front down, because this will pull on it right here. This little nudge upward is going to pull on the front and allow for it to be a little slow, likely to pass through. So there is some severe potential on this. It's a positively tilted front, which means it's more of a unidirectional type of flow. You tend to get more just outflow boundaries, Boeing segments, not exactly a tornado outbreak kind of deal, but you can get some severe weather. Yes, there's plenty of wind energy with this one. There is a tailpipe for sure. But the east-west nature, anytime you see that, the next thing you got to start focusing on is flash flooding, because these will likely train now over the same spots. At this point, if we were to get a front with this orientation on Thursday, our main focus, our hope at this point is that the front is attached to this low, that the low itself will have enough of a push to at least take this moisture boundary and move it down toward, say, I-40 into Tennessee. Get it south. If it's going to repeat itself, at least move the thing. And my concern is, especially this time of the year, is these fronts sometimes just have a tough time getting more south. So there is a risk that it may get stuck. So we're monitoring this, but right now I think this does have a potential alert day. Not only does tomorrow have maybe an alert day for a few hours, I'm not going to roll that out, but as far as more of a bigger event that we'll have to monitor for, Thursday has that look that we may have an alert day out for. Because of those very reasons I just laid out, some severe weather potential and then training effect for some flash flooding. The signal on this has been pretty steady for the past few days here, and certainly, again, has that tailpipe. Now, the Euro is trying to be optimistic and does want to try to push it down to give us a break for maybe Saturday, as we say goodbye to spring on Saturday officially. Summer begins on Sunday, and it's also Father's Day next Sunday. But as I mentioned, the repeating pattern continues, and we build right back up again with more heat and humidity and more showers and storms and maybe some MCSs thrown in as we get into the following week. So the good news is you may not have to do as much watering as you may think, but we just don't want the dramatics of flooding when we're in the wet pattern. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of what we just went through this week. So that's the groundwork. Looking at some of the data on this. I thought I was going to have that loaded in time. Hold on one second. I don't have it loaded on my computer, I don't think. Hold on. No, I didn't transfer it over. Well, I did have the CSU and the NSSL severe outlook, by the way. It is highlighting right along the front is all you would see. So nothing really shocking, but it is highlighting the front for an elevated severe risk 2 for Thursday. So again, another tool that we look at to gauge maybe some potential problems there. But we got plenty of time. That's next week. Next weekend for Father's Day weekend at the moment, with that return coming back into play, I do think it will be a very warm, if not hot, weekend and humid, and there will be a chance for some thunderstorms. And if you want to pinpoint me right now to saying which day is going to be better to grill out for next weekend, if the pattern holds as it is on the repeating idea, then that means Saturday will be. If everything holds spaced out, as you see there in the 10-day. Okay. Any questions on all of that? I know it's a lot, sorry. And I'll, here, let me put Adobe. He's good. He's snoozing away. He knows we're talking about him. Trust me, he knows we're talking about him. Are you my little toggers? Are you my little babies? Are you my little babies? There you are. Hey. And I love how we become 2-year-olds when we talk to dogs. Don't you love it? He can't resist sweet talk. He can't. And honestly, it's not that he thinks I'm talking to him. He thinks I'm talking to someone else or another dog. And he will not have that. That is against the rules. He is the only thing that matters. And I have to remember that. Same with my boo too, yeah. Crispy, any tornado risk tomorrow in the afternoon? It's anytime you get an MCS set up, your severe risk is going to come into any kind of colliding boundaries. Otherwise, no, this is not a severe setup for us. It's just more of those colliding boundaries can sometimes create a tornado warning briefly. Indianapolis had a very similar setup last night. Doesn't always produce one, but my answer to that is that it's possible, but it's very low. I think your biggest threats will be heavy rain, not so much flooding initially, because I do think they'll move, but I'm talking about heavy rainfall rate. So while you're driving through it or while you're experiencing it, it's going to be hard to see anything. I mean, it's going to be full-on tropical rain. And then obviously the cloud-to-ground lightning is going to be a danger, big time. So if you hear that thunder, get inside. You're going to be at the pool, you hear thunder, get in. Don't risk it. Those are bigger issues than the tornado potential will be on that. Our MCSs lately have been small. Yeah, most have been relatively small. But as long as they take the configuration of that comma, that's all they need. They have their mini cold front, warm front scenario, and that spinning little apex. If I were to draw it, hold on. I don't know if I can draw it on here. Maybe see. Yep, there we go. It's got the little cold front and then a little warm front. And you got the little mini low pressure that's right there in the middle. So it's that little notch that you got to watch out. Sometimes they can take on the look too of having like S, like Superman. They can look like that. And you got to watch out for, especially the leading bow. You can get spinning on this end and on this end of the bow as well. So there's a lot of points to watch when you get any line that's not perfectly just a straight line of storms. Anytime it has any kind of wiggling nature to it, then you're going to get straight line wind potential, and you can run into an isolated brief spin up. So orientation tells us a lot too when we look at that on the radar. It's one of our bigger clues, actually. I just heard if you hear thunder, get in the pool. Is that what I said? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say get inside or get into your indoor pool in the basement of your mansion. You guys know what I meant. If you really think I'm telling you that you hear thunder, go outside and jump in the pool. Come on. Now I know some of y'all even know better than that. I know I'm losing my mind these days. I'm getting old. Any other questions? Everybody's pretty quiet. These are tough patterns. They really are. Carson, I know it's going to have a fun day of trying to keep up with it because it's going to be such an ever-changing setup with the afternoon round into the evening round because it's hard to, you can't really sleep on some of these. You got to watch them because they can be very erratic on their development. But again, if you see them on radar and you're tracking them, all you got to do is just look at, we call it the higher theta E area, or when you get into higher dew points and fuel that's available, track that. Where is that in advance of it? And it'll just feed on it, just like Pac-Man. It'll go right to it. It's attracted to that. If there's a lot of dry air in your area and it's coming at you, but the air is low, the dew point's low, or especially compared to your neighbors, a few counties south, it may still come at you, but it'll start to fade rapidly. And the illusion on radar is it's turning. In reality, it's not turning. It's just building in a different direction. But when you loop the radar, it looks like it turns. For a shocking experience, contact Brian. Look, that's not what I meant. Great, I'm going to hear from State Farm. Again. Carson always has a fun weekend. He does has a fun weekend. Yeah, but you guys keep him on. You keep him on his toes, so he needs you all just as much as you all need him. Fort Walton Beach. Why would you ever cancel a beach trip? For next week there, it will be tropical in nature as far as daily showers and storms, but it's more so of it being more afternoon effect of the showers and storms. You may get enough of a sea breeze that you may be safe. I wouldn't cancel your trip. No, just be prepared for, I would say, late morning through 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You may have to deal with some thunderstorm action, but you won't have to deal with it non-stop day and night. But you also will not face nothing but a blue sky the entire time. I mean, you'll have some thunderstorm action, but that comes with any beach, really, this time of year, right? Even the beaches of the Ohio. Okay. All right. I think you guys are good. It's Friday. Try to enjoy the day. It is so nice out. And it will get nicer as each hour goes by here today. So if it still feels a little muggy to you right now, I'm like, I don't know about this. Just give it a few more hours. Wait till this evening, and you'll be just fine. And tonight will be a comfortable night. If you're going to take on the town tonight, you got a hot day tonight. You can go to the car wash now. Get it all shined up. I mean, it's going to get dirty again this weekend, but still get it all shined up. But it'll be a very pleasant night tonight. This weekend, much more on the humid side as we evolve into Saturday night and Sunday, and be aware of thunderstorms that could be a threat day and night. All right. So you got to be ready to go for alerts, not just the afternoons like normal. All right. Have a good weekend. Seriously, I'm going to leave you guys with Dobie on this lovely Friday afternoon. Happy birthday again to Dobie. He'll be on at 3:00 today, by the way, with Meyer and I, and he's going to be getting a special treat. And it's also worth mentioning that it's someone else's birthday very soon that will also be another special guest. More on that in the coming days. I'll talk about it then. Fair enough? All right, everybody. Take care. I'll see you soon.